Oh, as I said, I'm a transformational life coach. I'm also a negative emotional therapy practitioner as well. So today's topic is about fear of failure and goal setting. Most of us, we've always have got issues of attaining our goals because of fear of failure. So this workshop is just going to take you through what failure is, what can you do, what tips can you do as well to empower yourself, and as well, when you are ready to set your goal, you can join us. We've got a workshop on goal setting and vision board on the 26th of February, which is a Saturday. So you might ask yourself, what is a fear of failure? There are many definitions. One of them is it's just showing you there's a signal of something that needs to happen, that you need to grow, something that you need to learn. And also when you fear failure in terms of what you want to achieve, there's that gem that you need to learn. And it's quite important that you manage this. And there's this quote here which says, you cannot avoid fear, and no magic potion will take it away, and you can't wait for motivation to get you going. And to conquer fear, you have to feel the fear and take action anyway. So basically what you need to do to manage fear is to take action. So in terms of the goals, you might be looking at starting your own business, or maybe start painting, or starting to 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 open a company, or maybe to learn to fly. And depending on where you are in terms of your life, there might be different goals that you want to achieve. It could be money as well. Tanya has been talking about how she has been doing it based on the training that she got. So there are many ways that you can do. So there are many ways that you can do to manage that fear. And as well, fear is related to worrying about what could happen. And this normally comes because you are worried about what other people will say. And most people, they don't care about what you say. And we normally let people become the spotlight in our lives, forgetting about ourselves. And that is where we always fail, when we continue managing the fear. So it's important that you manage this in every aspect of your life. Could be in a relationship, trying to maybe date some guy, but that time you find that you need to follow your gut as well. And you could find that there's other things that have happened which might also deter you making your own decisions. So it's quite important when you make decisions that you are still. When I say you are still, it means you need to meditate until your mind is not full of clutter. Then you will be able to make the decisions that benefit you and that make you prosper. So I've got a few questions to you guys. What does failure mean to you? You can type, or you can unmute yourself. I saw Maskabe spoke, and then we'll go to Laje after.
I would say failure is basically when you have a goal and you don't achieve it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then have you experienced failures in your life?
Yeah, many times. Many times, but I don't think I've ever experienced any embarrassing type of failure, but yeah, there are certain goals that I have set and I didn't achieve them.
Okay, so I'll come back to your response. Let me hear Laje.
Well, I have the same response, that it is failure is not reaching a goal. That's what I think it is.
Okay, that's so. Is that what it means to you?
Yes, yes,
okay.
It is.
Okay, and have you failed before?
Many times on a daily basis.
And what makes you carry on and pursue your goals?
Number one, I'm just a determined person naturally, but I always believe in failing forward. So learning something from the failure, which will help set the next goal.
Okay, that's awesome. And then I see Tandiwe says, when you don't achieve your goal, it's true. Depending on what goal, whether it's a small goal or a big goal, we go through that. And my follow-up question is, do you find yourself avoiding doing something because you want to avoid failing? Are there times where you just avoid it and say, no ways, I'm not going there?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes. You can also use the reactions. I'll see if it's a yes. Yeah. So the next follow-up says is, do you really struggle dealing with failure and mistakes? What do you do when you have met with failure and you feel like there's no way out? Okay, I see Lajee raised her hand. Yes.
Firstly, I always believe that failures are ways of teaching us something, just a way of teaching us to do something differently. To be honest, I'm not scared of failing. I think it's so important to fail at stuff because you learn so much more. You learn how not to do something, and in that learn a better way of doing it. So personally for me, I don't struggle with failure and mistakes. I appreciate them really.
Okay, wow, that's awesome. And it leads back to my next question is, how much are you missing out on because of failure? Masiabe is in agreement as well, because if we don't go through the failure, we'll never learn. It's the same like when we're learning to drive. How many times have you tried to reverse or go to a steep, that scary one, and the first time you go through, you're like, oh, will I do it? Will I do it? And just within that split seconds of saying yes, you'll do it, that is how you have managed your failure, the fear of failure in terms of driving. So we go through that, and at times we just forget that we are capable. And life wouldn't be interesting if we don't go through failure. It will be so boring. Because the more you fail is the more you explore, you go and look back and say, I could have done this. This is what I had to do. And it's another way also of asking for help. Because with what is happening in society and being in the lockdown, people were locking ourselves, and as human beings, we're meant to relate as well and to talk to each other. You might find that there's someone who has failed at that thing and they were successful. Why not go and reach out to them? So those are the things that we need to start using, because as human beings, we need to relate, ask for help, and continue until you fine-tune what you want to do. And then the next slide is, at times you might find that we are scared of failure, and having that fear of failure could be related to your mental health. With what I just mentioned with the lockdown, I'll say March 26th of last year, and being on level 5, it was hard for so many people, especially extroverts who need other people to energize them. And you might find that during the lockdown, many mental health issues came up and there was a lot of abuse happening. So you might find that people are scared of failure because of their mental health condition. So where are they in terms of their thinking? Are they always thinking of negative stuff? Because when maybe they were growing, or whatever relationship they're in, or whatever circumstances they're in, it's always negative, and that person makes them to look at gloom. Even when there's a sun, they don't get excited that today they are alive, God has woken them up, they're able to breathe, and they're not in hospital or that. So another thing, so it's quite important you look at your mental health. when you've got fear of failure. So go deeper. It could be telling you now you need help. Do you need to get a coach, or do you need to go a therapist to try and uncover what are the issues and address them? So it's quite important that when you look at fear of failure, whatever you are, ask yourself, is it related to your mental health? You might be saying, how will I know? As I said, be still. The moment you are quiet, because we are spiritual beings as well, we all have got our answers. The beauty about having a coach or a therapist, they help you to uncover yourself and to make things much easier. So be still and ask yourself, do I need help in terms? You'll see, you'll realize your body will tell you as well. And when you're in pain, you feel it in your body. By the time you don't address it, your body's gonna tell you, now you need to rest. Now you need to go and see a doctor. And when you go to a doctor, they say nothing is wrong with you. So it means you need to deal with the issues that you're trying to avoid, which are making you to be scared of anything, or in terms of failure as well. And also having, so one of the symptoms of negative thinking is it has a severe health problems, because the moment you think bad about yourself, you start storing that negativity in your neurons, and it changes how you feel as well. So you always feel pain all over your body, and you go like, even just for example, let's say you're scared of snakes, and the moment somebody says a snake, you can feel something in your body, just feel that, because you have locked that fear within your body, within your neurons. So it's quite important that you take this seriously. And then another thing that I love about this slide is that failure is part of life. Lajee has already mentioned as well, she loves fear, she loves failure, and she learns from it, and it's part of what she does. And also the way you perceive failure can help you to succeed in your life. So when you're experiencing failure, ask yourself, what do I need to do? Do I need to do what we call a mental autopsy? So look at your brain, what is it that you need to do? As much as doctors will do an autopsy on somebody, let's say, who is passed on by the pathologist to find out, you can do your own mental autopsy and find out what the issues are. And you can also get help in getting your answers quicker, or you can speak to your friends, so that maybe you might find that based on what things they change the way of thinking. And being alive, it's an awesome opportunity, because you've got a chance to change who you are. And it also, when you deal with failure, it helps you to move from a victim mentality and say, or being a volunteer victim, because with what is happening, people will say, no, this didn't work, and you always embrace this volunteer victim archetype that you say everyone has to feel sad for you and all that. So you need to check how you choose the failure, is it positive or negative, and what you're going to do about it. So that is quite important for you. Any questions on this one? Okay. So as human beings, we've got what we call the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. The conscious mind is the one that gives us willpower. Like even when you set your goals, on the day that you set your goals, you're using your willpower, your intuition, and all that. And for your goals to materialize, you need to make sure that your conscious mind is aligned with the subconscious mind. And most of our fears, they are mostly in the subconscious mind. Our personal beliefs, our resistance to change, all our memories and our images, and also how our habits, like daily, as I said, with driving. Now when you get into a car, you won't even look down where is the clutch or the brake or the axle. You just get into the car, you just check if the wheels are fine, you've got water, you've got petrol, and you start the car and start reversing. because driving has been stored in your subconscious mind. Same as fear, depending on how did you acquire that fear? What happened that made you to always have this fear of failure or fear of doing any other thing? So it's quite important to know that. That is why I say it's important to do an autopsy of your mental state and see where you are. So the next slide, we're just gonna show what the condition. So as I was mentioning, that it's the fear is in our subconscious mind, and this can be because of our conditioning. So some causes is our childhood event. So as you are sitting, just ask yourself, if you still have got that fear, where did you learn it? Or it could be mistakes that you have done and your boss said you were horrible. And each time you want to achieve something, or your hubby or your boyfriend says, no, you're not good enough. And each time you want to achieve the goal, you just continue replaying those records, and those people are not there, and you're entertaining them without them knowing, because they're in your mind. So your conditioning, and based on your where you grew up and your surroundings, also could be the cause of your fears. So you could ask yourself, when did I start having fear? And part of being a negative emotional therapy practitioner, we go through those, if trying to understand where are those, because fear is a gestalt that we store. So part of the work is to discover when did it start and how we stop it as well. So you could ask yourself, the fear, did it just start now? Or did it start when I was in high school? Because when we're young and when we're small, when we start standing and walking, we fall so many times without fearing. We go and touch the hot place without worrying what our parents do. But the moment we grow up and looking at our surrounding, which influences us a great deal, we start getting affected, we start limiting ourselves. So it's time to stop limiting yourself. It's time to start to unleash your greatness, because everyone has got so much greatness. And part of going through failure is to unleash that and going to dig deeper and understand that. So did you manage to answer my question on was it childhood event, or fear came up as you became an adult or a teenager, or from work or from your boss? Anyone who would like to share? I see everyone is quiet. So whilst you are being quiet, just do that audit of when do you think you started having fear. You can take a deep breath in and just think about, just give you a minute. And then when you're ready, just send me a thumbs up. You don't have to share. Okay. So Masiwe said she can't think of any childhood event. Her parents were very supportive. Never push it. That's great. And another thing, don't judge yourself. Fear is not a bad thing as well. You have to have it so that it creates that adrenaline to want to unleash yourself and reach and make sure that your goals are materialized as well. And it also teaches you to have the mental resilience to conquer things as well. And there's so many celebrities, so many sportsmen who have failed so many times. And they still continue. And now when you look at them, you don't look at their failures, you just look at their success. And there are people who are in business who are doing well now, and they never documented their failures. It doesn't mean it's only you. We all go through that. So we need to be willing to fail and be unstoppable in whatever we are doing. Okay. So I'll go to the next one. So you might ask yourself, what are signs of failure? Some people might say, I don't know, I'm not sure whether is this signs of failure. It's one of them is that worrying what other people think about you, because mostly this one is the main reason why people stop doing something, because they get paralyzed with fear. And when they think of just achieving that, they're like, oh, what will Sbanibani think about me? Why do you care? Those people, they don't know whether you ate, whether you're alive or something. So why do you care about those people? Why do you care? Because as human beings, we are here to add value. And you might find that that failure that you're going through is going to be a breakthrough to a solution that the world needs. And then the next one is that you might worry about your ability to pursue your future, the future you desire. And here you can get help and guidance. You can go to YouTube and Google what you're looking for. You can read books. You can go to career counseling, can get a coach, can go to a therapist, or you can even ask your friends. You might find that within your networks, there's somebody who's doing well at what you're desiring to achieve. And another feeling is you're worried that people will lose interest in you. If they lose interest, who cares? There are 8 billion people in this world. So you get others who really care about you. And then the other one is that you are worried about how smart or capable we are. We are gifted beyond measure. And at times we take it for granted about the power that we have. And that is where fear comes in, and which we need to nurture. So everyone is capable. And we also worry about disappointing people whose opinions you value. At times could be your loved ones. Think they have those discussions, and you find that they are supportive. You're just creating the stories within you. So verify your stories and hear what people are saying think about you as well. And then also another sign of failure is you tend to tell people beforehand what you don't expect to succeed in order to lower your expectation. Already here you tell yourself, because you think, yeah, God, you know what is going to happen, and you might surprise yourself. That is why it's important in whatever you're doing to have faith, to always have faith, and to say it will happen, and to also desire. If you don't have that, it won't happen. So if you're saying it won't happen, having that ish already says you're going to fail. So who's going to believe in you if you're having doubts? Because when you have that feelings, people can even see it in your body language, because your body language is so powerful. It says so many things as well. The next one is, once you fail at something, you have trouble imagining what you could have done differently to succeed. So this is where you need to look at the failure, look at the gem of that failure. What is it telling you? What you needed to do differently as well. Like even with the Apollos, they've been testing Apollos, flying them and all that. And each time they go, something fails, but they come and also fix those problems, so that the next time they fly again, it's much better. So we all fail. It doesn't matter where you are. And then another signs of failure is that you start getting last-minute headaches, stomach aches, or any physical symptoms that prevent you from completing your preparation, because you just want to start. So overcome those stomach aches. Just drink water. I always say when I've got a headache, because I hate pills as much as I can, having water with lemon helps as well. I think I'm going to have my water with lemon too. So it helps as well with headaches. You might find that the headache is just mild as well. So look at that, look at those symptoms. Your body always tells you what is happening as well. And then you might find that you all get distracted by tasks that prevent you from completing your preparation. So ask yourself, what is distracting me in achieving my goals? What is distracting me in achieving my greatness? And start monitoring that. You can also have a notebook and start monitoring how you sabotage yourself. Because the most sabotager of note is ourselves. And at times we blame others. When you point a finger at someone like this, the other three fingers are pointing at you. So which means you've got a major contribution to what is happening within you. And at times the other one, this is a major one. So I'll be focusing on this one in our next discussion next week about the fear of failure and procrastination, how it affects you. So so another sign of failure is that you tend to procrastinate and run out of time to complete your preparation adequately. And then this goes back again with planning, because planning is key in life. So I always tell leaders when I'm doing facilitating, because I also do business improvement. So it's like a leader's role, even you are a leader even to your life, you have to follow the principles of PLOC. You need to plan your life. You need to lead your life. You need to organize your life. You need to control, that is checking what is going wrong and redoing the cycle. So you need to lead yourself. And if you don't do that, how are you going to accept others to lead as well, to lead your life? Because you own this life, not anyone, not our moms, not our parents, not our loved ones, but it's us. And there are people looking at us when we are going through this. So it's quite important that you start managing. So procrastination comes hand in hand. And when it comes to procrastinating, the best thing that you do is to start with something that really annoys you, which is just giving you headaches. You find at the moment you start doing it, things just get easier. It's because we overthink things. So we need to stop overthinking things. And also, whilst we're doing our mental autopsy, just listen to that voice, because even when you're talking, there's that inner voice that's talking to you. So listen to how it's distracting you. Is it adding value? And then you start training you so that it adds value to you. So those are the signs of failure. Does anyone relate to any of those? Okay. Yes, there's a yes. Anyone else? Okay. So this leads me to basically our mindset, how the power that we have of our mindset. We've got what we call the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. And when we let fear take over our lives and paralyze us, we're living in the fixed mindset. And it's where we say failure is the limit of my abilities. So one needs to move to where they say failure is an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to unleash your potential. It's an opportunity to add value to the world. It's an opportunity to change someone's life. It's an opportunity to change your life as well and be an exemplary. Because you find that when, as a human being, there's somebody looking at you, how you manage them. So you are modeling, and your modeling of your life creates the conditioning that I spoke to about earlier, of how those people will relate to their lives. So if you want to be the change in the world, start modeling the growth mindset so that the world, it's so exciting, it's full of possibilities, and we uncover so many things. And you could be the one who's igniting that seed on that person. So it starts with you. So we need to develop a mindset that allows for possibility. So you need to choose your mindset. Are you in the fixed or the growth mindset? And everything that you do, always train yourself to see the possibilities. I know with somebody will say, I'm going through the worst in life. But if you were to sit and look at that situation, you'll always find the positives, the learning. And most of the times we'll go through something many times until we have learned something from it. So it's important that we learn something from every situation that we might have. Like for me, COVID taught me that we've got resilience. And it taught me, as much as we're close, we're minimal, I was healthy. I didn't have to go to the hospital. I wasn't hospitalized as well. So people have been going through the most through COVID. And for me, it was that as much as I was restricted with my movement and I couldn't go to gym because I used to go to gym at 5 a.m. It was like, oh no, so I can't even go to gym now. I have to adapt. So it was a moment of growing and say, what else can I do in terms of that situation? And also, I remember in 2018, it was a tough, I'll say it was a tough year. When I do the mental autopsy, most of the issues that happened was because of me. So I applied, I think, close to 6 managerial jobs. So I continued applying and applying and applying. So after getting those rejects, I sat down. I was like, I did an introspection of each interview, and I said, did I answer properly? Was my mental state in the right place? And then did I sell? Did I show that I'm a valuable person for that role? And 10 out of 10 in that year, I wasn't. I was just full of entitlement because I said no, because I've done this in the past. Everyone should know. And going to interviews, it's another way of selling yourself to be the best, so that people who don't know you, they know who you are, and it's easier to articulate yourself. So I went there. Yeah, so just full of those grudges and say no, it's high time they promote me, they do this to me. But was I ready? Even if I was gonna be given that role, was I ready for that role? And I wasn't. So it was a big lesson for me. So the next few slides are just gonna give you tips on what you can do. I see there's a comment. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tandy. So as I said, the last few slides are just showing what can you do with your fear. So when you're faced with a fear of let's say starting your own business, let's just make an example of that, or going to apply for a CEO job. So ask yourself, create a list. Someone will say this is too much. But as I said, as a person, you need to lead yourself. So you need to apply the PLOC, PLOC. So plan. So if I'm having this fear, what could be the worst case that could happen? So look at the worst case that could happen with that job or opening your business. And what can I do to prevent the failure? So write that down. What can you do? And then the third one is, what is it that you can do or fix? How can you fix this failure that you are thinking about? So if you write that list, because you're talking to yourself, you are training your mind to think rationally, to think critically, which is a skill as well. So you can also buy a book on critical thinking, so that when that inner voice is telling you, start answering it back with powerful questions, and then it will serve you. So write that and write that list. And also you need to write down the benefits of the attempted failure, and if you didn't do anything, the inaction of doing nothing. So write that down and read it as well. And you realize this will motivate you to say, yes, I've got it, I'm gonna do it. And it will help you to better your life, because every day there's a goal that we achieve. Even just going to the shop. It's a goal that you have set. I'm going to the shop to buy these things. And then you might find that you're indebted and all that. You go like, now you're scared. Should I swipe or not? What is going to happen? What are the detriments? So use this. You can use this in everything that you do in terms of your life. So that is the tip that I'm sharing with you. It's very powerful. So I'd like to hear your feedback. You can send me an email or WhatsApp or when you have started using it and tell me what is the change in terms of your life as well. And then, of course, also this will help you to have unconditional confidence. We always talk about unconditional love. So this is about building unconditional confidence in yourself and saying, this is how I'm going to tackle this fear. Any questions? Okay. So the next slide also talks about the tips. I like this picture. When I saw it, I'm like, wow, let's put it in. So look at fear and say, this will not make me a failure. Never. It needs to stop. So it starts with that mental capacity and internal talk that you have with yourself, because fear, at the end of the day, it's internal. Everything is internal because the other person won't know what you're going through. And another person cannot read how your childhood were and what were the issues that you went through when you were an adult as well. So always say this. If it's difficult, just saying it. I always say to change a behavior, it takes about 21 days to 30 days. Just start telling yourself. And also failing helps us, is quite important. It's a personal growth which leads us to our success, which leads us to achieve great things. So the first tip is know that attempts are not failures, they're just results and they're worthwhile knowledge that has been regained. So you need to tell yourself that. So each time you attempt something, no matter how many times, just say it's not a failure. Okay, there's a question of being shy is not a failure. It's not fear, because you might find that whether if mostly, because people may say I'm shy, and if they know what is happening within my head, they'll be so surprised. And you might find that most people who are shy, they could be introverts, and it could be something that has happened to them, or it's just in their nature. And when they're in their elements, when they're doing something which is their purpose, which sparks them, you find that the shyness goes away. So we're different as people. So never feel like being shy is a failure. You can maximize on it. And you find that when you live your life, when you are congruent with your life and you're authentic with your life, that shyness goes away. Because even me, when I go to sessions, like for people that I don't know, it's in my nature. I try to gauge what's happening, and then I start talking. And when I talk about coaching, somebody say I'm lying that I'm an introvert. I am an introvert by nature. And people as well, they take someone who's not verbal, like they don't speak up in a meeting. So as a leader, because as a leader, a person needs to lead. Even at homes, we are all leaders. If you've got quiet kids, it's not that they are quiet. Just talk to them and say, what do you think? You find at the moment you just did that, you just bring a smile, a spark, something happens. I know, to me, if I attend, most people that I know, I says, if I'm in a meeting and I don't know, if you're a lead, make sure you ask me. It's not to say I'm not interested as well. So you find that you just create that spark, this chemical reaction happening. And when that person speaks, you find that they summarize everything that has happened. So being shy and quiet is not a failure. It's just who you are. It's how you embrace it, and those who are around you, how they maximize that. Because we're supposed to unleash our potential and other people's potential. And then another tip is to turn attempts to possibilities. So always look for possibilities in life. Like even our phones, before we used to have that phone, the red one, you press. Now we've got cell phones, we've got everything. Whoever thought there'll be cell phones, we won't be dialing in. I think there are a few people who've got telecom phones on in their homes at the moment. Mostly they're using cell phones. So look into the possibilities. There are so many possibilities, and refuse to see them in failures. And then also practice seeing possibilities in every situation. I always say, always have a notebook, because you find that as you're walking, ideas sparks. So just write down that idea. Then you might find that you're the one who has to materialize and bring it to life. And you'll say, I'm not good enough. Who said you're not good enough? The idea was planted to you because it's known that you've got that greatness and you've got that power. So as well, choose to develop a mindset that allows you to perceive possibility so that you're wired for love design. So it's about choosing having a growth mindset, which is quite important. I see Tandu says a mantra is that life is full of possibilities. Yes, it is full of possibilities. So that is why it's important, if you've got mental health issues, you address them, you find help so that you are able to see the possibilities in life and you live a fulfilling life. And then also when you start, it comes back to the mental autopsy. When you start catching yourself thinking that something what happens is, just say that I cannot be a failure because I'm wired for success. Everyone is wired for success. We are wired for greatness. And there's no single human being who's not wired for greatness. And we just have to find ways to unleash that. And in life, if things were easy, everyone would be doing it. So it starts with you. Start unleashing that. And then the next one says, make it again to see how many possibilities you can think of in any situation. So any situation that you have, like myself, I always have plan A, B, C, and D, because I don't just dwell. It came from experience. Say, if this doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. This means I have to do this. And if it doesn't work, life carries on. And you'll be so surprised that life is so fulfilling when you do that. And then you need to train yourself to see a possibility as an opportunity, because we're always looking for opportunities. So don't shy away from that. We need to shy away from. So look at that as an opportunity, because you'll be unlocking potential. And as I liked what Tanwe said about the mantra of possibilities, we live in a world full of possibilities. And with that being said, is where do you want to be? Currently, you could be in your comfort zone, and mostly you are in your fear zone, which is the dark one. And there's so much opportunity to learn. The moment we manage our fear, we take it as an opportunity to grow. We take it as a gem that we need to nature. We go through the learning zone, we acquire new skills, we extend our comfort zone, we're able to deal with challenges and problems better, because at the moment you cannot deal with higher grade challenges unless you can manage the challenges that you have. The moment you can master addressing the challenges that you have, you will be able to go higher. So it's a step. So you have to continue growing. So one step which leads you to another step as well. And it comes back to, there's one question that I have is, what will you do if you cannot fail? I'd like to hear your responses. Laje, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay. So what will you do if you cannot fail? I know you embrace fear and it's part of you, but let's just say today we are telling you there's no fear tomorrow. what will you do?
I'll embrace that as well.
Okay.
All for what comes ahead. Because in that as well, there's opportunity, you know, from succeeding. So I'm all for it.
Awesome. Thandiwe?
Hi, what would I do?
Yes.
That's an interesting question because you never thought about if it wasn't there. I don't know if I've really thought about it because it's something that happens. What will I do? Then I wouldn't have any fear. I guess maybe that's what would be. I don't know.
I know I caught you off guard, guys, but just ask yourself, even after this session, just ask yourself, just go deeper and document it.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it because, like you've said, while you've been teaching us, is that fear drives us, you know. So I'd have to think, what would I do if it wasn't there? I guess it's like if you didn't have like a father or a mother in your life. I mean, what would you do if all of a sudden you had a mother or a father in your life? I don't know. Yeah, so it's a deep question.
Okay, so write it down and just meditate on it.
Yeah.
You'll find that you learn a lot about yourself from this question as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Masiabe?
What would I do if I didn't have fear? Sure.
Yeah. If you cannot
Yes,
fail as well.
Oh, gosh. I mean, my fears are so many. I mean, number one, I would dance like nobody's watching.
Okay.
I mean, that's like the basic one, but I probably would, sure, my gosh. Yo, that's a tough one, hey?
Okay.
That's tough. I mean, there'll be endless possibilities.
Yes. Okay, so I'll urge you guys just continue writing, and you'll find that you can even write lots of pages about what can you do, and start tackling those things and make them possible. And another thing in terms of fear is, let's say you want to achieve the business, you want to run your business, you want to study this degree and you're scared. Like for me, I wanted to be a doctor, but I was scared of blood. So I always say coaching has led me to work with people because I wanted to work with people. So it could be a scapegoat of some sort. But now what I love doing is watch Grey's Anatomy. Now I'm interested when they do operations. I'm so intrigued. I'm the only one who watches the series. My family were like, you are mad. But it just shows that I can still coach and still watch that. And I watch it with passion as well. So I learn a lot from that. So it's also to manage that desire I've always wanted to do. And another thing that I just wanted to highlight before I go to the next slide is, when you're scared of achieving that goal or starting that business or opening a clothing shop or a saloon or whatever, and you just give up, it basically means you're not passionate about it. Because what always make you experience fear is something that you're passionate about. So also evaluate yourself when you're giving up on that goal and say, were you really passionate about it? It comes back to my story that I shared. I wasn't passionate about it. It was just gonna be a title changing in my CV, but was I gonna add value? So ask yourself those questions. If you're just giving up on that thing, were you really passionate about it? And if you're going through the struggles or the hardship, are you just gonna give up? Because hardships normally they are temporary. Today is the 6th of February. Can you still remember what hardship or what fear you went through last year, February? On the 6th, you don't remember because that was temporary. So always remember and play that question to yourself. Then as I'm about to conclude is, listening to what I've just shared, understanding what fear is and what tips you have, and understanding that you've got that potential in your life. Are you ready to set your goals? You can send me a thumbs up. Yes, Laje says she is. Okay, let me see, there's comments. Oh, I see Laje says, I'll also question it may be too good to be true. Yes, at times. Yeah. Okay, so this is almost my final slide. So I hope you have been empowered to think differently in terms of fear and failure. So you can also use what you just learned in all the fears that you have as well. Start questioning them. If it wasn't there, what would you do differently? So next, my upcoming workshops, if you want to take your goals further and understand, here I share a lot about the tool that you use to manifest your fear, which already Thandiwe is already using. So you can join us on the 27th if you're interested, and then to also be a Zoom call. And there are prerequisites in terms of attending. The day before, you have to follow I'll say a vegan meal, no meat, no alcohol, no chickens, to make sure is to eat fruits and vegetables. You can have nuts in terms of your proteins if you are someone who's on medication. So it's quite important when you come to the workshop that you're not overusing your brain to digest food. Fruits and veggies, it's easier to digest and they energize you, to make sure that you are able to connect with your soul and also to connect with your mind on a higher level to maximize your pineal gland and your pituitary gland. So that is quite important when you attend these sessions. And then Thandiwe says vegan dark chocolate is also good. I've never tasted that one. Myself, when I do this workshop, I just go on a water diet. So I'm still energetic as well. And then the next one is find your spark. If you've got issues with your relationship and you want to reignite your spark, so you can attend that. And then the last one is next week, I'll be focusing on the procrastination and goal setting, how it affects you in terms, because most people, they've set goals. When the year starts, they write their New Year resolution. Within a month, they don't remember and nothing's happening. And then they just blame the system. So just to go through that to help you. So are there any questions for me? Yes, no sugar as well, because sugar as well is a no-no on your body. So I always say that's another workshop on its own of how your body affects you as well. I just learned when I did my water fast. I love chewing. I used to love chocolate. I couldn't stay a day without eating chocolate. So I moved to a chewing gum. During the fasting, I tried to eat the chewing gum. It did havoc to my body, so I've stopped taking chewing gum. So it also helps you fasting to understand what does different types of food do to your body. So are there any questions for me? I'm just gonna stop sharing. Any questions? Okay, Laje, yes?
Not a question, but just appreciation. Thank you so much for the session. It was absolutely fantastic. I myself am in HR, so I really believe that transformation is so important for growth. So sessions like this are so impactful for not only a person, but for the person to encourage others and then for growth as a unit for an organization. I'm so big about building people, and this is one thing that's going to build people. So I actually took snapshots of your next workshops, which I will share with my network as well.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yes.
I was saying you can private message me your WhatsApp, and then I can send you photos of the future workshops as well. And thank you for your time and your participating. And I think it was a high bar to reach, having someone from HR, and I'm excited that you were part of this.
Thank you.
Okay. So okay. Tandiwe, let's see, did you write anything? Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna stop the recording.